Look at him. A 300-pound slab of Austrian beef. To the average American in 1968, he looked like a cartoon character. A sideshow freak. A dumb jock who could barely string two sentences of English together without sounding like a Bond villain. But here is the inconvenient truth that history books often skip. Before Arnold Schwarzenegger ever swung the sword of Conan, before he uttered the words, "I'll be back," he was already a millionaire. And he didn't make that first million in movies. He made it while everyone else was laughing at his accent. See, while his competitors were obsessed with the size of their biceps, Arnold was obsessed with the size of his margins. His body wasn't his life. It was just a marketing funnel. Welcome to the masterclass in aggressive capitalism. Let's rewind. It's the late 60s. Arnold lands in LA. The reality check hits him hard. Being the best bodybuilder in the world paid peanuts. Literally. The prize money for Mr. Universe barely covered his plane ticket. He needed cash. Fast. But he refused to take a normal job. He refused to be an employee. So, he teams up with his best friend, Franco Columbu, to start a bricklaying business. Now, any average immigrant would have competed on price. They would have said, "Hey, hire us, we are cheap labor." But Arnold? He understood branding before it was a buzzword. He knew that in America, if you are cheap, you are invisible. They positioned themselves not as workers, but as European artisans. Specialists in marble and stone. Arnold told customers, "Oh, this is how we do it in Austria. It is premium. It costs more." It was pure theater. They were literally charging double the market rate for the same bricks everyone else was laying. And the wealthy residents of Santa Monica? They lined up to pay. Then, fate intervened. February 9, 1971. The Sylmar earthquake rips through Los Angeles. Chimneys collapsed. Walls crumbled. The city was in chaos. Most people saw a disaster. Arnold saw a gold rush. They didn't sleep. They didn't go home. For weeks, they worked 14, 16 hours a day. They were the only ones crazy enough to work through the aftershocks. They turned the rubble of Los Angeles into their seed capital. By the time the dust settled, they weren't just two gym rats anymore. They were sitting on a pile of cash. But Arnold didn't spend it on Ferraris. Not yet. He pivoted to phase 2, the mail order empire. He realized a fundamental truth: I cannot scale my time. I can only lay so many bricks. So he turned himself into a product. He wrote training booklets. Simple, stapled pamphlets on how to get big arms or chest definition. And here is the genius pricing strategy. He sold these thin booklets for $20 or $30. In the 1970s, that was a fortune. That's like charging $150 for a PDF today. His friends told him, "Arnold, nobody will pay that." But Arnold knew human psychology better than any economist. He knew that people do not value what comes cheap. If the information cost $1, it was trash. If it cost $30, it was the Holy Grail. It was a secret. And the orders? They flooded in. Thousands of envelopes. Cash and checks. Passive income. High margins. Zero overhead. While his rivals were sweating in the gym for trophies, Arnold was sweating in his apartment, stuffing envelopes, building the war chest for his biggest gamble yet. But cash is trash. Especially in the 1970s. The Great Inflation was eating America alive. If you kept your money in the bank, you were losing money every second. Arnold looked at the economy and saw something nobody else did. He realized that debt was his best friend. Enter the Magic 6. A 6-unit apartment building in Santa Monica. The price tag was $214,000. A staggering amount for a 20-something immigrant. He took every cent from the bricklaying, every dollar from the mail-order booklets, and dumped it into a down payment. People called him crazy. They said the market would crash. But Arnold did the math. He lived in apartment number 1. He rented out the other 5. The tenants paid his mortgage. The inflation drove the property value up, but his debt stayed the same. It was a perfect machine. He wasn't just a landlord, he was a speculator. And he didn't stop at 1. As soon as the equity rose, he refinanced. He pulled the cash out and bought a 12-unit building. Then a 36-unit building. He flipped properties like he flipped tires in the gym. By the time he was 25 years old, before he was a movie star, he was a real estate millionaire. He had financial freedom. And that is where the psychological warfare begins. In business, he used the same weapon he used on stage, the psyche out. He played the role of the naive immigrant. He'd walk into meetings with shark-like developers. He'd misuse words. He'd smile too much. He'd let them think he was just a dumb muscle guy. He let them lower their guard. And then, when the deal was on the table, he would strike. He knew every number. He knew the zoning laws better than the agents. But his superpower was the ability to walk away. You see, in negotiation, the person who needs the deal loses. Arnold didn't need their money. He already had his own. This brings us to the final battle, Hollywood. When he tried to act, the industry gatekeepers laughed. They said, "You look like a monster. You talk like a machine. Change your name. Lose 20 pounds. Any starving actor would have said, "Yes, sir. Anything you say, sir." Because they needed to eat. But Arnold? He had apartment buildings paying him while he slept. He looked the producers in the eye and said, "No." He waited. He waited for the role that fit him. He didn't shrink to fit Hollywood. He forced Hollywood to expand to fit him. Conan wasn't an acting role, it was a casting choice that only a businessman could engineer. The muscles got him in the door. But the hustle kept him in the room. Arnold Schwarzenegger isn't a story about talent. It's a story about leverage. Build your assets first. Secure your freedom. And then, you can tell the world exactly who you are. Pause, because if you have the money, the accent isn't funny anymore. It's iconic.